We're set.
Are we doing this?
We are.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's go.
This is going to be a very special episode. I can feel it. I can feel it.
This is a kind of a beers around the world thing that's sort of going on here. So we got Sam Adams.
Sam Adams.
Sam Adams Cherry Wheat.
Cherry Wheat.
And we got a Guinness. And we got another Rottleburger. So cool.
I took a little bit of shit for drinking Guinness on camera because I'm a
brew guys,
a brewmaster. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I'm not a beer snob. There is a reason this beer is so popular because it's good. And anybody out there in the craft brewing world who wants to hate on it needs to probably sit back and reassess everything they believe in.
I agree. It's just good.
Well, they can make beer for 260 years and then they can talk about Guinness.
Yeah.
Good point.
Exactly. My God, we've been in business with our one barrel system for 4 months and Guinness sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you?
Well, maybe you don't like them, but they must be doing something right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and make your lame ass juicy hazy IPA that anybody can make? And leave the complicated beers to the guys who really know what they're doing.
The IPA, when you set it down, the can sticks to your hand because it's so syrupy and all that. I can't.
Well,
put this down.
I'll tell you, one of my big things right now is I'm just sick of beers that taste like a bag of candy, and I'm sick of beers that when you take a drink of them, you think you're being face raped by a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So we do everything in America on 11. Just like Nigel Tufnell, a little bit of that was really good. We should do like 10 times more.
Yeah.
And so that's how you end up with,
Let's ramp this up.
Right.
I'll tell you what's kind of draining me right now when you look at beer. Like there's one outfit that wanted to make a beer that tasted like weed smells. It was something hippie, and it had peace symbols.
That sounds like a horrible idea.
Well, it was just a lot of strong hops. I don't know what kind. It was mixed, but it did smell that way.
Yeah.
But now, and I tried it. It's all right. But now I see 10 or 15 of those everywhere I go. Okay, everybody's trying it.
People want to overstress the relationship between cannabis and hops. They are distantly related. They are not closely related.
Well, if we want to get into it, how much sage? How much, especially in the rain out here in Texas, how many sages smell like that? There's quite a few. So.
Yeah, that's true.
You're right.
So anyway, enough beer talk.
Well, I got a special treat for you guys here in a sec. First thing I want to do, I got some swag to show off. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, swag time.
So, one of my medical angels, Tammy Lawrence, sent me this. It's a big tumbler from the Permian Basin Bicycle Association.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's got the blue line. I forget the topic of the ride, but it's got the Texas police officer blue line.
That's cool.
And I love it. Yeah, it's great. That's a cool color. I've never seen one black like that. But yeah, it's pretty groovy. So check this one out. So 3-Shot Rocky hooked me up.
Oh, 3-Shot Rocky came through.
Yeah. I sent him a shirt, and he came in, I think, on the podcast around the Millspin episode, and that was the one where the guy ordered a back plate for his Glock that said "fuck the police," and they were very clever in their reply back. It's a few episodes back. So he made me this one that says, "Hey Sean, order this bitch," and it's the old school cop.
I see that.
Yeah.
Giving the loud finger.
Yeah. Yeah, Rocky sent me that. It's pretty groovy.
Thanks, Rocky.
Yeah.
Thanks for thinking of me, especially. Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
No, that's very cool.
Put it up there where everybody can see it. That was pretty groovy.
That's one of the beauties of the YouTube side of this and having a YouTube channel. You get to meet so many interesting, cool people.
Oh, yeah.
It just expands. It lets you know that, hey, man, there are a lot of cool people. Even on your worst day when you think people suck, you can realize that all over the world out there are people who think similarly to you.
Yeah, and they're just cool people to hang out. And you're right, man. The P's are loud on this thing.
Yeah, you're doing a hard P.
My theory is
you need to Flomax that mic.
My theory is that as I've gotten off of the chemo and that they're changing me, that my voice is coming back.
Yeah.
So it's just inherently louder. But
this is what I'm really looking.
Speaking
forward to.
of the deal, the whole treatment thing. So I am big into a group on Facebook that started fairly recently. It's called Man Up to Cancer, The Howling Place, and The Howling Wolf is the deal. It's just a bunch of dudes from all over the world kind of sharing the same experience. But one of the first topics on there, and we do talk about treatment and stuff. One of the first huge, like, okay, there's this worldwide bromance going on. Somebody goes, all right, what's your favorite whiskey? And pow, it just piled up. So I was down there in Houston for some tests, and I found the Lagavulin single malt Scotch, 11 years old, the Nick Offerman edition.
That is the perfect age for a Scotch, is 11 years old.
And for those of you who don't know, Nick Offerman is the actor that played Ron Swanson in Parks and Recreation.
He does what he wants.
Yep, and he is in real life a fantastic dude. And I knew I married the right woman when she goes, you should get that. And I looked at it and I go, but it's really expensive. And she goes, just get it. So I got it. And we're going to bust it open tonight, all except for Mike, who's on call. That's Mike back there, by the way.
Oh, my God, Mike is here.
Yeah.
Mike.
I didn't introduce everybody. And we got Tim and we got Cliff, all these guys. The website has been on serious topics.
Mike's the designated driver today.
True.
Things requiring a lot of thought. We did the art episode, and I've done a couple about treatment. And so tonight is just going to be hate and mayhem as far as I'm concerned.
It's so beautiful. I'm looking
at
it.
Wow.
I'm
Look at that
looking
color.
At it through the light of the softbox, and it's just killing me how beautiful
we should
that
put
is.
it up there through the softbox.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Somebody take a picture of that.
Holy
Yeah.
mackerel, dude.
I want everybody to see this. I don't want to change the cameras around.
Bring it my way just a little bit, but keep it up by the light. Stop. Got it.
All right. We're going to put that photo up right
yeah.
here for all to see. I'm even going to fade it in all dramatic. All right.
So great. I'm so excited about this. Thank you for sharing this with us.
You're
by
very
the way.
welcome. We are sharing this in spirit with the entire group of men on the Howling Place, but
Agreed.
they all live in different places. So, gentlemen, we have your proxies here, and we all
I'm
wish
going to
you
try to drink your share for you guys. Well, okay,
we are
maybe
also
not.
drinking to a very special occasion. Cliff and Mike don't know because I got the call just before Tim walked in, and the Howling Place guys have been helping me work through all this. I was just approved for clinical trial today. Insurance decided it wasn't such a bad deal.
It went through, man.
What did I tell you?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, they told me to get bent, and we came. But did you predict this?
Well,
Sort of.
yeah. We had a whole conversation about it where basically everything that you predicted has now come true.
Yeah.
What, that they would reverse it?
Well, what I told Tim was that, when you call an insurance company, the person you're talking to is not a shot caller at the insurance company. They are a person reading a script.
Right on.
And so if you can get a doctor to talk to a shot caller at the
Take a whiff of that. I'll pour for everybody
at
here
the
in just a second.
insurance company and explain the situation, there's a damn good chance that you'll get what you want. And that's what I told Tim.
It was. I'm not clear on it yet. It may have been our treasurer's office. I'm not sure, but somebody asked to review it, and it was reversed, and we were confused because I'd been approved for an alternate treatment, and so we didn't know which was which. Bam! I got the email that said your clinical trial entrance is going to be February something. So.
I can tell you, my wife has worked with, helped people get. Thank you, dude.
Well, that we can correct that.
My wife has worked for years helping people get on Social Security disability income, and she will tell you that your first application will be turned down 100% of the time. Right. And
anybody want rocks?
because
right there.
Because that's what they do, and so
I'm not going to do a rock until I taste it. So
that's probably a good idea.
This is a gorgeous work of art.
The cameras won't be able to do justice to just how beautiful this is, how perfect the color is, how absolutely.
That's the only white I have.
Yeah, it's still not going to work, but
no. Fantastic.
And this, I can tell this is a peat smoked. The malt, it was peat smoked. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
It's got that smoky. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Are we doing
Here's
this?
the times, gentlemen. Good times. Good times. Mike, a clink in spirit to you, who's on call, Yeah.
Mike.
Yes.
Perfect.
Here we
All right,
go.
let's do this.
That's different.
That's very special. That's something.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff.
That's really, really,
I'm gonna
really
do a
good,
rock now.
dude. Oh my gosh.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys want one? Those are my wife's RO. The RO ice spheres that I made, so they look like little tiny fat pills, but I screwed it up. Fantastic. That is an experience.
This is one of those things where I hesitate to even try to articulate what this tastes like.
Nah, just roll with it,
If you're
man.
watching this and you're interested in this, just go buy a bottle.
Yeah.
It's worth the money, and you will have a repeated series of very good experiences drinking.
So all my buddies, man up to cancer, you have been honored adequately. This stuff is there. So best of luck to you, gents. I hope you have the same luck I do in this mess. Am I still louder than everybody?
No, you're good.
Okay.
I think.
Well, it's your show. You're supposed to be louder
exactly.
than everybody.
You're supposed to have the volume and the EQ and all that.
All right. So we have a loosely based topic to go on. Again, it's been serious and controversial and artsy here lately. So
I was going to ask why we're here today.
I just want to do some hate. So this is officially declared another Skeptics Roundtable. And for the Skeptics Roundtable, right now, just ask the guys, bring your favorite internet, hive mind, pop culture, whatever stupid concept that is entirely false, that is perpetuated by the internet. Bring it here and let's just all kick it out and hate on it.
Okay.
If need be. So, and I don't know what you guys are bringing. I sent you my two just to kind of give you the spirit of things, and we'll get to mine later. So if when you guys wants to fire off.
What?
You have one in particular you'd like to?
I'm telling you right now.
I brought one.
I'm going to close the episode with the absolute most shocking, you can't wait to see what happens next, one simple trick teaser of the most controversial thing we can think of. So who's got something?
Oh my God, this whiskey is so good. Oh
yeah, we're just gonna sit here and love.
Yeah,
this
so it's just
whiskey.
gonna be us, the three of us in silence, drinking this whiskey, and you guys watching on the YouTube
Yeah, this
side.
is
So
this
it's
is
gonna
a
be
good.
Oh my
this is-
God.
also a shout out to my friend Suzanne, also dealing with cancer.
That is a very, very.
That's pretty awesome.
I will tell you the truth. I had to look at that twice, and I was like, "Oh,
So we'll put it where I think you can see it. You do have to look at it.
yeah."
a sec.
You have to look at it, and we won't make any further commentary on it. You get it or you don't. It's pretty easy to get.
So if you don't get it, that's what she said. So tradition in our band to get the first one out.
I
It
went
means you're
to-
going to have the best night.
I just
of
went
the
to the
whole-
Kiss song "She." It's in my blood.
The Green Day is she to me.
Oh, and Green Day. Yeah.
So all right.
Man,
So who wants to?
I got it immediately. I don't know what y'all's
Yeah.
problem.
Who wants to
you're
fire us
smarter
off?
than us.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
I would. But okay, well, since Cliff doesn't have anything,
What the? Nothing. I think we
Dude,
got to pat him down.
I didn't even know what I was supposed to bring. You didn't really explain what we were doing. That's why I asked, why are we here? I didn't even know why I was here. You were like, I got some whiskey. I'm like, okay, I'll come over.
All right.
I was pretty clear on the instructions, but you know.
I didn't
We'll roll
get
with that. What you got, Tim?
Okay, so this morning on Weather Nation, they featured a user-submitted video of Bigfoot.
Awesome.
Oh, yes.
Brand
Awesome.
new Bigfoot footage.
Awesome.
Okay?
Was he playing like shuffleboard or something on a cruise ship? I hope, eating beef jerky.
You know, I wish. Because that would dispel a lot of the
That would help us.
skepticism. If like just Bigfoot showed up like for a track day on his CBR 600.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, that would be everybody like, okay, yeah, man, we actually met Bigfoot. He was a cool dude. He wasn't cutting real fast lap times.
All that hair kind of slows you
Yeah,
down.
exactly.
His aerodynamics aren't
His
that good.
Hey, remind me, I've got a 3-shot Rocky story at the end.
His aerodynamics are kind of dirty, but yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, if we could get the Norelco shaver, we can easily knock 2 seconds off his lap.
So where did we find Bigfoot this
Okay,
time?
so it's exactly like it always is, and these people on Weather Nation are going crazy over it. But it is at night on a game camera in starlight vision or night vision, however you want to.
Yeah, it's infrared.
Infrared.
Yeah.
And it's a guy in a suit. Why do they always do this?
Have you ever heard Matt's idea about getting an ape suit and just running around messing with people? That was a while back when
we did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our fencing club.
I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Oh, you're
Come in and
allowed
grab a
to.
mic. Yeah.
You're
Here,
totally
here,
allowed.
Take this one.
Well, just real quick, have you guys heard of sax squash?
No.
It's a man in a Bigfoot costume, channeling his inner Duke Silver and playing saxophone solos out in the middle of nowhere.
That sounds
That
fantastic.
makes me feel good. Yeah.
Well, you said that, and that was the first thing I thought of, and I was like, oh, Nick Offerman, Duke Silver. So I had to
Duke
throw
Silver.
That out there.
That is a yeah. Duke Silver
Okay.
is his alternate character.
That sounds fantastic.
Plays saxophone. So our fencing club, we met in a gym at the theater. We were friends. I was good friends with the costume person at the time, and I was just back there hanging out one day before a workout, and they had a Chewbacca suit.
Perfect.
And I thought if you take the belt thing off of it,
Perfect.
that would be a Chewbacca suit. So one of the guys at work, Bo Estes, has a ranch that's out in the middle of nowhere, and he'd had problems with theft or something. There's a bunch of oil field stuff popping up. So he put game cameras all over the place. And every morning we would sit and drink coffee, all the investigators, and we would look at these
Because they didn't have anything else to do. I mean,
well, this is
government employees.
yeah, this is just our morning get together, and he would pull out his laptop, and we would see all these pictures of all this wildlife, you know. And when you do that every day, you're going to see some really cool stuff. So we got to sitting around one day, and we decided he needed a Bigfoot sighting. Oh, that's my neighbor. If y'all hear a rumbling, they've got a.
oh yeah, they're chipping wood over there. Yeah, they.
Well, while I was trying to do a voice recording the other day, they fired up a wood chipper, and my cup was doing this back in the studio.
they got a giant wood chipper.
They've got a
across the
backhoe
street.
out there too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they had both. But anyway, long story made
Couldn't
short.
afford a front hoe.
Yeah. Long story made short, we called the guy's wife and tried to find out where his cameras were, and he saw a Bigfoot one morning.
Awesome.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he had moved the cameras since she told us. I think I've got a picture. If I have it, I'll put one of them up here. And unfortunately, his wife, he had moved one of the cameras, and so we had late intel from his wife. And you can find out if you look close enough. Bigfoot is wearing official SWAT issued boots. But I was the guy in the suit, and I did the whole. I had it all together, man. So that was our Bigfoot sighting.
So Tim, I just want to say though that in their defense, this is a weather channel.
I know.
The news. Every day is a slow news day at the Weather Channel.
But I tell you one of the reasons why. Like if I wake up really early, like yesterday, I woke up very early because I brewed beer at the brewery and I brewed alone, and so I like to get an early start, and so that's one way to start my day that's not stressful. If I watch news, I'll be pissed off about something as I'm going to do one of the most funnest things a human being can do.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that. So I watch innocuous content in the morning as I'm drinking coffee and kind of thinking about my day and what beer I'm going to brew. And so that's where Weather Nation comes in, because all of the meteorologist strippers are really hot.
Yep.
Or some of them are. And that sort of thing. You see what I'm saying?
I get you, man.
Yeah, it's just an easy way to kind of wake up and that sort of thing. So you're right though you're totally right about that. But I'm going to add this one thing. One of the male meteorologists was like, you could tell he was holding back his skepticism. He was like, why is this always on some kind of a weird camera? It's 2020. Every camera should be high definition. Why does it look like this?
Yeah.
Right.
And so you could clearly tell that he was questioning the whole thing. But the anchor stripper or the meteorologist stripper, she was like totally like enthralled with it.
He's obviously never seen security camera footage from 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because they're using cameras that were made in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a monkey in there turning them like this.
Yeah, you can hear it.
And it's been looping on the same VHS tape since 1982.
Yeah, that tape is so thin you can see through it.
Right. Human beings walk a certain way. You guys, you were in law enforcement for 3 decades. You're still, a civilian working in law enforcement. You guys know that, walks mean, body language means something. The way a person walks means something. And you can tell this is a human being in a suit walking very conveniently across the field of view of a game camera.
If you want to do a really good Bigfoot, get a suit like we did, get a couple of buddies and have them glue it to your skin. Shave your entire body. Glue it to your skin. I want a video of all this, and you might pull something off. You might make us look twice at it.
Plus, you'd show your level of commitment.
That's what I want to see. I know somebody's going to do this.
I gotta hope so.
If you're not going to put any more effort into this than to get into a monkey suit and walk in front of your game camera at your buddy's ranch or whatever, don't even try to go, any steps further than that.
If you see a bear walking or any animal and then a person in a suit or an animal in a suit, like the banthas in Star Wars run elephants, something like that, or something along those. I can't remember.
They're not elephants. They're called.
I don't know anything about Star Wars.
Yeah, but anyway,
I'm gonna quote Bobcat Goldthwait here. I have not seen Star Wars because I'm over 40 and I'm not a virgin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Star Wars is gay.
If you put it on an animal, the skin hangs and you don't see the musculature move and all that kind of stuff. But we had to do a study thing. It was a class activity. My favorite astronomy instructor we were talking about, Cliff Cuffey.
Oh, yeah, Cliff.
So I'm the only cop in the class, right? And I'm watching this, and it's about these guys that have a Bigfoot, Find Bigfoot Club. And so every year they go up, and they have all their scientific means and ways of all this. And what they're doing is they're going there during the salmon run. And they tell, it's a good idea, carry a camera, but a lot of people, we understand, you just want the experience of seeing Bigfoot yourself. So, if you're coming this year, pay this amount of money. And then we had to compare that to the study, the Hirschberg-Russell diagram or something. So here's Mr. Cop sitting here, and I'm going, these dudes are paying for their salmon trip every year. Mm-hmm. Like, they've got a whole bunch of hippies over here standing next to a tree, with wooden beads on, wanting to, give a hand shandy to Bigfoot while these guys are over here. Yeah. I bet that's what's going on.
No doubt.
Yeah. I've thought about that. How can we build some kind of charity or something? I know we've talked about this before, where we can get somebody else to pay us to do what we want to do anyway. I had an idea. I don't know if you've heard this or not, Tim, but the idea that I pitched to Matt is we start a foundation that trims trees in the forest, because nobody cares for the trees in the forest. Mm-hmm. And so we could get a few $1 million a year coming in. We could give ourselves executive director jobs that were fairly well paid, and we get to go on every few months. We get to go on a nice camping trip. Man, we cut off a couple of limbs, take some pictures.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this whole thing would be paid for by a bunch of schmucks who thinks it's very important to trim dead trees off limbs off of trees in the forest.
That's
we'd be the Greta Thunbergs of the forest.
Yeah.
There you go.
That'd be a really good one.
Go.
That's a work of art, dude. We really need to look into that.
Just like these guys. We're hunting for Bigfoot. We need a giant donation to pay for our research. And our research involves us goofing around out in the woods and paying ourselves.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I do too. See, Cliff, if Cliff were, the one where I sat back there where Max sat, where
Mike.
Who's that guy? What's your name again?
Cheers.
The whiskey's starting to talk. Where Mike is sitting, was if you guys were king of the world.
Yeah.
And see, that would have been one of your king of the world ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could do that without being king.
You could, but
if you're king, you don't need to.
But you're
you don't need to con a bunch of schmucks into sending you money.
But when people figure out a way to do that, they're effectively in the king's court. So
that's true.
Yeah.
We could develop that. Yeah. All right, that's good.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that was really funny that on the morning before the day we were going to do this podcast, there's fresh footage of Bigfoot for us to talk about. Yeah.
Outstanding.
It was almost by divine providence.
I gotta go. I gotta go home and watch the Discovery Channel because I'm sure they got a special going right now.
There will be very soon.
Yeah, that's. Mm-hmm. I saw it was on a kind of a localized. I think it was on the Blackwell Volunteer Fire Department Facebook page, and I watch it because that's where the observatory is. And somebody posted, "Hey, be careful! There's a bobcat around." And they just had and it said it's on our game camera. And so they just posted a stock picture of a bobcat. I mean, not a bobcat, a mountain lion. But you could tell the way the person was doing this, they're genuine. Hey, we're on the Sykes Ranch, and here's, we saw this mountain lion.
You telling me I got a ranch I didn't know about?
The other night, yeah. The other night at, 2 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
And so people started, well, that's a bunch of bullshit. That's no game camera's that good. And they started and the lady's like, it's on the game camera. I'm just telling you. Oh yeah, we'll prove it. And so, right? And I mean, this poor person is just trying to be helpful. Hey, if you're running loose lambs or your goats are out in your yard, they're just being cool. So she goes back. She goes back and pulls up the picture, and it's anticlimactic. But it's a mountain lion. I mean, he's way back there, but it's obviously way back there is a mountain lion, but he's. And so just the
that is a horrible picture, but that is a mountain lion.
Yeah. I wouldn't have stopped on it like I would your other picture, but it's a mountain lion. So.
I'd like to introduce you to a website called Pinterest, where you can find good pictures of that sort of thing. But exactly.
Yeah, so all right. So did you come up with anything yet?
Well, he got me. He got me thinking.
That's it. That's all we got to do, man.
That's all. My job is to get the smart people to think.
Tim.
Then I lay back and just drink Irish whiskey.
I didn't mean to jump on you there. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was going to say Tim has stimulated Cliff into.
Hey.
Not the first time.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's enough of that.
So,
what? We're supposed to just like bitch about something? Is that what we're doing?
Just take an internet.
It's Skeptics Roundtable. You can be skeptical about whatever you want.
Skeptical about
I'm just gonna bitch because that's all I got, and he reminded me of it.
Right on.
But once I tell you this, you will not be able to watch the Weather Channel again.
Oh, okay.
Without
I don't watch
about
it, so
well, once this is in your head, you can't get it out. Okay, it's what's happened to me. Meteorologists. When did meteorologists become experts in everything?
I know. I'm with you on this, especially, and I don't want to get too political on this, but they are all apparently with their 4-year college degrees in meteorology, they're all global warming experts.
Yeah.
Well, that's not even what I'm talking about. Let's say you got the news on, the weather comes on, it's like, a 5-minute segment of weather. They will spend 30 seconds telling you what the weather is doing tomorrow, and then they will spend 4.5 minutes telling you, bring your pets indoors.
Oh, I see.
Bring your plants indoors. Cover your pipes. Do this, do that, do this. Drive carefully. And so I'm sitting there and I'm going, well, what all is this guy an expert in? Apparently, he's an horticulturist, he's a veterinarian, he's a medical doctor, he's a plumber, he's a driving expert. He knows everything about everything. Don't forget to bring your umbrella, and you might need a jacket. I'm like, dude, just tell me what the weather's going to do. Let me figure out what to do about it, right? I'm a freaking adult. I don't
let me, in defense of the weather guys.
Fuck the weather guy.
Okay. No, I'm with you. I don't argue with that. Fuck those guys. I'm right there with you. I have AccuWeather and I have my radar on my phone, so I don't need a meteorologist on TV on a screen necessarily telling me what's going on. But there's this thing that's needed in broadcasting, and take it from a guy who worked in broadcasting for a long time and still does from time to time. There's this thing called filler that you really need. When everything you need to know about the weather can be said in a minute and you've got a 4-minute segment, you've got to have that filler. And you see it all the time. You see it especially at the local level and on levels, like streaming weather and that sort of thing. They're just trying to fill the time one way or another. That's how you get videos of Bigfoot on the Weather Channel, on the Weather Nation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a position that as a meteorologist or whatever type of professional in broadcasting you are, you have to deal with that. You are irritated by it, but I guarantee you a vast majority of the people that are having to broadcast it and be in front of the camera, they're pissed off about it too.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, so but you're right. I totally agree with you on that.
So anytime I happen to watch a weather broadcast, I always mentally list the number of fields this guy is an expert in, depending on what he mentions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to put on sunblock. He's a dermatologist.
Yeah.
Well, in your pets, he's a veterinarian.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I just like mentally list out all of his areas of expertise, and I can't stop doing it. It's like I said, once you realize what's happening, you cannot.
Oh yeah,
you can't unsee it.
You create a mental process for yourself that
Yeah.
cannot go unnoticed.
That's right,
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
very true.
It seems based on what you said, Tim, if your channel starts doing it, your channel obviously cares more than mine that doesn't, because we're telling you to bring your poodle
That's
in.
part of it too,
yeah,
man.
so now everybody does it.
Yeah, people are really concerned with their emotions and feeling good about things.
Why didn't he tell me to wrap my pipes?
Yeah.
Yeah. People aren't necessarily interested so much in logic or rhetoric or even grammar anymore, but they're very interested in the content and state of their own emotions. And so obviously media of all kinds panders to that.
You ready for mine?
Sure.
Yes.
Falls right
Bring
into that.
it. Bring that
Yes.
shit.
My first one. Get your brick. Get ready to throw it at your own electronic device, because you're going to hate me so much for saying
They
this.
already do. Let it fly.
Yeah,
Let
we're
it fly.
halfway there, baby.
All right. You guys ready? Everybody take a breath. Pit bulls were never nanny dogs.
Yeah. Oh, I love this one. Go with it.
Did
So-
you say nanny dog?
Nanny dogs.
Okay.
What happened is sometime in the last year or two, someone posted a picture of a small child next to a pit bull. It's black and white from the teens or 20s, and they came up and they said they're nanny dogs, and a bunch of people looked. Nobody can find any source of that. Now, first of all, I'm going to say this. I don't have a problem with pit bulls. This isn't about the animal. The animal is what it is. Some of them are dog aggressive, some people aggressive. The vast majority are just dogs, and they do cute dog things, and they wag their tails, and they make noises, and they lay next to you and all like that.
I'm a fan of the pit bull.
Yeah, they're great. My dad's had them, all that, and I'm a terrier fan. I've had schnauzers all my life, so I understand the terrier drive.
But like you, I'm pragmatic about what the breed is.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that, but so that came out, and actually what came out was a study comparing, I think it was 2018 or 2019 human fatality stats by people killed by pit bulls or mixes in comparison to other things and what they're freaking out about. And what has come about is a culture where, since Michael Vick, that it's almost virtue signaling now to get a pit bull.
Yeah.
Because if you don't like pit bulls, you're now a dog racist. That's a thing.
Oh,
People are saying that.
God.
I went off. This was on a chemo binge where, I kind of fixate. I'm going, wait, where are we going here? Yeah, you're a dog racist or just a regular racist if you see a pit bull and you maybe pick up your small dog or whatever, you're a dog racist. Or if you just say, hey, that's not a good pick for you. Like you have a bunch of free range rabbits in your living room. You probably don't want to get a pit bull. Okay. I have a schnauzer that will eat your cat if she gets a chance. So I totally get it. But so they went from that down to people who, live in apartments and they want to be a good person. And they're going to go out and get a pit bull to show that they do. And they're in the wrong place to have one. It's just like when I was in Houston healing up for my surgery. I'm walking with my Trek poles, and I've run into this nice young lady with a brand new puppy that is a full-blown border collie, and she lives in a one-bedroom apartment. And
I own a full-blown border collie, and I'm going to tell you that is a bad idea.
Real bad.
That's
I live on an acre, and it's not enough room
right
for her.
But it's just about breed selection. But anyway, what's happened is this whole hysteria, and then it's gone hive mind, and now it's absolutely imploding on itself, and people are just going absolutely apeshit. I'm like, they're dogs. They're just dogs. They do dog stuff. And they're comparing them. Well, pit bulls bite, or Chihuahuas bite more than pit bulls. Yeah, and a Chihuahua isn't gonna take your face off.
Tear your face off.
So, but I'll get into breeds. If you get a Schnauzer, they're probably not going to be real happy with other dogs. They're going to stay away from them. But God help your hamster. And this one guy wrote a story about how he wanted a pit bull because he liked, Jack Russell, because he liked a dog on Frasier and some others, and how smart and all they are. And he goes, this was a great idea until it killed my cat.
Yeah.
So that dog was a psycho. And you go to YouTube and you can see them killing.
Plus, those
cobras.
dogs are escape artists, and if they don't want to stay where you're keeping them, they will find
Yeah,
them.
I saw one climb a tree in my backyard. It was my cousin's dog, and he saw a squirrel, and that dog shot straight up the tree. So, but anyway, it's I've been around plenty that are great dogs. I've been around plenty that were terrible dogs. It's not just, and it's all in how you raise them. Not really. It's about the genetics of that particular dog more than anything else, because Cliff will tell you when a herding dog gets hungry, it will push you to the food. That's just what they do. And you can't make them not do that. Mm-hmm. So if you're the right person in the right environment, no problem. The problem is a lot of people are following bad advice and getting animals that aren't really right for their situation. And it's creating all this bullshit, and people trying to, they're putting fake service vests on and taking them on buses where the dog is overstimulated and freaks out.
Yeah.
And what do? They'll grab something.
Go right up an 80-year-old woman's ass.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're a fan of pit bulls, that's fine. I don't have a problem with them myself. They're not a fit for me.
Look, I'll tell you, I have no kid. My wife and I never had kids. It's just the two of us in our 1,500 square foot house. We could have a pit bull if we wanted one. And I like pit bulls, but even I have shied away from having a pit bull because I think there is a certain framework where a pit bull thrives and its owner thrives, and it's not in every situation. Right. You don't just go to rescue a pit bull because you feel sorry for it. Pit bulls are great dogs, but pit bulls are bred to kill. Among other things, other dogs is one of the things they're bred to kill. But that leads genomically into them killing other things. They'll kill a baby. They'll kill a little kid. Yeah. And so you have to be careful about where and how. In nature and nurture, there's maybe some of that. I'm not a scientist in that regard, but I will tell you straight up that if you have any kind of a strong breed, you need to make sure that you are the right owner. You're in the right environment for that dog, and that dog can actually thrive, and it can fulfill what it has been programmed genomically to do. And people ignore that all the time, and it leads to disaster in some cases.
And I had a very long conversation with a vet friend, is James Baggs, about this before I started running my mouth. And I said, hey, make sure my math is right on this. And we were talking about breed trait, and Schnauzers were Mousers and Ratters bred for small farmhouses, and to be a dog to be in the house with you that takes down stuff. And the better hunters of the Schnauzer breed won't play with anything that's not furry. It's a weird deal. You throw them a Kong toy, a rubber bone, they're like, that's cool.
That's interesting.
But, throw me, we had one, Nicole had some furry socks, and our best hunter that we had would steal those socks, only the furry ones. And she wouldn't play with any toys unless it looked like a mouse. And what he was, and the way it was explained to me, was the breed started in as like bull baiters. Okay, yeah. They're just basically dogs that kill bulls in one of the more brutal sports of the, Victorian era.
Well, one of the branches of that breed is the English bulldog, and the reason there's that big underbite is because that is exactly what they're meant to do. They're meant to grab the bull by the throat and hang from the throat and kill the bull.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons why English bulldogs do better around smaller animals and people and kids than a pit bull, because they are bred genomically to go after large animals.
Well,
so anyway,
yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're
Go
exactly.
ahead.
You nailed it. I mean, and that is a breed that's built that for hundreds of years, or decades at least. Exactly like you said. That's what a bulldog was good for. What a pit bull was good for was the speed, and they hit lower on the animal, as far as I understand.
I think
Then
that's
dog fighting got to be a thing. So now you have dogs who they fight each other, and you only breed essentially the winners or the more aggressive dogs. And what you're doing is breeding in a form of sociopathy into the animal, because it's not something they would normally do.
Yeah. Some might say psychopathy, psychopathy.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Whatever.
So yeah, I'd have to think about it. Think about the norms on that. But anyway, so then you get into the era, the Michael Vick era, where that's a big thing, and you have an abundance of these animals. They have large litters. They'll immediately kill one that loses and go on. So you have this huge thing, and they're not at that time a big pet dog. If anybody gets one, it's because they want an aggressive dog. So you have this field, this genetic pool of aggression. But then
you get the canine version of knuckle draggers,
right?
Basically.
And then when the whole pet craze kicks in, this is what my buddy was telling me. Now you're having people that are breeding selectively based on the ability to be a pet. So they're breeding out dog aggression, they're breeding out people aggression, they're breeding out a lot of those things. So there is a lot of good going on at the same time, a whole lot of bad clattering together. And so it is just an absolute mess. But there are people who have them, never have any trouble, decades, no problems, breed after breed, or line after line of the same dog, and everything goes great. And then you have the people who get one and live in a Manhattan apartment, and it twists off and snatches their face. But my point is, the nanny dog thing goes to point toward the hive mind weirdness that's going on about the breed.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
now it's just a way to justify what you want. It's what you've
beautiful.
already decided what you want. I want this dog to love my kid. Now, how can I make this happen? Well, I can't, but I can pull up some BS from picture from who knows when.
Yeah.
And
It is an actuated version of the confirmation bias.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
that's beautiful.
All right, well, let me tell you what I've been thinking about while you've been talking. Okay, so years ago, I had a friend of mine. He was a manager of a ranch, and he had a degree. He had a bachelor's degree in animal husbandry. And this is a person who has studied how to breed animals. And I had a really interesting conversation with him one day, and it wasn't about dogs. It was about cows. He said this particular ranch that he worked on, that he said the guy that started that ranch, took all of his money and went and bought a bull to start his ranch. And the bull that he bought was an extremely mean, aggressive bull.
Huh.
But it had a lot of other traits that you wanted in breeding stock, as far as he was big, and and he had these other traits that were desirable in cattle. And he told me, he said we have been trying to breed that meanness out of this herd ever since I've been here.
Yeah.
Wow.
For generations of bulls.
He goes, today I have a third generation cow that if you turn your back on her, she will run over your ass.
Yeah.
And he said the problem with dogs is you have a lot of people out there breeding dogs that don't have any idea what they are doing.
They know nothing about the breed they're even trying to
they don't even
multiply.
they don't even understand the traits that they're trying to bring up and the traits they're trying to repress.
Right.
Whereas he did. That was what he did. And he goes, we have charts, we have graphs. We know that if we breed this cow with this bull, that these are the results we're going to get. And as time goes by and generations go by, this is our goal. Dog breeders have none of that.
Right.
Now some do, but
well,
most
the
don't.
reputable ones.
reputable ones do, but most don't.
Yeah.
And so what I'm telling you is, if you've got a third generation cow that will run over you because her great grandfather was an asshole,
right?
Apply that to dogs. Okay,
Yeah.
you go
whose genome, the dog's genome, I can only imagine. The dog's genome is one of the most manipulatable genomes of any animal.
So you've got a breed of dogs that has been bred to be aggressive for 100 generations,
right?
More or less. Who knows? That's the problem.
Yeah, nobody really knows.
You don't know, and so you sashay down to the shelter to adopt this poor dog that has been abandoned, and you get this pit bull because he's cute. You have no idea what you're getting.
Yeah, and then he kills my grandson.
Absolutely no idea what you are bringing into your house. You could be bringing in the sweetest, best dog in the world. You could be bringing in a freaking psychotic time bomb. You have no way to know.
Yeah.
And that is the problem.
I thought about you when I saw this one video. It's about about a ranch
sweet.
Yeah, it's about a ranch in Wyoming. And they're doing grass-fed beef, and they use herding dogs to herd. They have guarding dogs to guard the herd, and they were explaining how all of these animals have been bred to do what they're doing. Even the cows. They said they're cattle that won't eat grass. They said they'll eat what you put in front of them, like the grain-fed. And so they were getting back into one that's sustainable, the roving herd, and they had a variation of Great Pyrenees. But they used border collies as herders, and they explained how they did it. And they worked on command, and they worked on their own, and things like that. But the guy said, he goes, I looked at their dogs, and I'm like, are you sure that's a border collie? That's a scruffy-ass looking dog. And they had all inconsistent coats, and the patching and all that stuff were weird. And the guy said when AKC picked up the border collie, they were bred for appearance and all the pet quality. And he said those dogs don't herd like these dogs do. When these dogs hit the ground, and it showed them as puppies herding ducks.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the real thing. And the Pyrenees that they had didn't look normal. And it was another breed, I can't remember. But they kind of looked like sheep, and they hung out with the sheep, and they barked at everything. They barked at the people when they came up, and they were trained to not be and bred in to be not aggressive toward people and not chase wolves. They wanted dogs that would stay with the herd. But they said a lot of our dogs get killed.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing those dogs would do is if a sheep died, they would eat it.
Well, to quote,
because they would leave them out in the range for so long. That was just sustenance.
Right.
It was fascinating, but it goes along to what you say.
Sure.
That they said it doesn't take long. If your neighbor's dog, who's a pet, comes over and knocks up your herd dog or guard dog, they've got a problem, because now they have these puppies with these genes and they don't know what they're going to get. So they still, they have to kind of, and even they said even with our best male herder and our best female herder, that they would breed them, and they would still have to check the puppies out to see what they're going to do, because not all of them. There would still be one or two that wouldn't do it.
Right. Well, so you guys may remember, but when I was a kid, right, the thing was the Doberman Pinscher. The Doberman Pinscher was the shit. It was the guard dog. Was the attack dog. It was the police dog.
I got bit by one.
It was the everything dog.
Yeah.
Right.
1977, when I lived on Kansas Street right here, I got bit by one.
And you never now. Do cops use Doberman Pinschers?
Nope.
Negative,
does anybody use Doberman Pinscher? You know why? Because the bloodlines have weakened.
Right.
No, I didn't know
due to poor breeding.
Right.
The bloodlines have weakened, and they're no longer
puppy mills.
Good for that.
Yeah, puppy mills is one of the main. The Doberman is not the only breed, but there is a handful of breeds that the puppy mill destroyed, and the Doberman is one of them.
Yeah. So I mean, my son's got one, and it's a good dog, but we're speaking generalities here. We're not talking about any,
no specificities here.
I'm not saying every Doberman is bad. I'm saying that generally they're not used for what they were used for 40 years ago.
Right.
Because the bloodlines just aren't there anymore.
And that's the thing in the Schnauzer breed is, if you want one that's a good ratter, you may get one, you may not. You're going to get probably a good pet, but a lot of them aren't. They have the watchdog tick in them where all they do is bark. They don't want to, mess with anybody. They just, that's their deal. They want to stay away by themselves and bark. You got ones like Macy that have all the hunting dog drive and no ability. For whatever reason, she just sucks at it. She tries her best,
Yeah. Well,
but she's just not very good. But
So-
she's a great guard dog.
So over the past 10 years,
Watchdog.
you guys knew my dog Scout.
Scout, yeah.
Who we had to put down the year before last, and I won't go into that because I've had enough Irish whiskey that I'll cry if I
Right.
talk too much about it.
It's
But-
Scotch.
Well, it is Scotch. This is real Scotch. Okay, if for some miracle reason there is
Excuse me, I have to make a call. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Kreitz.
Okay, so all I want to say here is that if you are a Scotch distiller and for some reason you end up finding this video, I apologize for calling this Irish whiskey because this motherfucker is Scotch. For real. And it is exceptional Scotch. It's not just Irish whiskey, it is Scotch. And I apologize for that. And I've had enough that I feel like I need to keep on apologizing.
Okay, you've said enough.
Okay, thank you.
You were looking at the beer. That's what threw you off.
Yeah, that's true. So, and one of the reasons I'll tell you, Cliff, and you, Mike, whose name I now have correctly, even though I've known you for over a decade as well, I picked the Guinness because these are both Irish.
I know.
So,
But he didn't have any more Guinness, so.
Well, I offered to share that with you. You said, don't share it with me. You need all of it. And so I'm going to drink all of it.
Okay.
So back to my stupid ass dog who I loved dearly for 10 years, almost 12 years actually, who we had to put down. That dog was an American dog in every way because I never did a genetic test on that dog, but I took that dog to several vets over the course of her life. Some vets I liked and didn't like, and that's why there's more than one. But her primary breed was not Shih Tzu. She was gigantic, not Shih Tzu.
Yeah, but that's fun to say.
It is because the first word is that thing. Anyway, she was part pit bull, she was part German Shepherd, and she was part the dog with the wrinkly skin. Help me out here.
Shar-Pei.
Thank you.
Boom!
Oh my God.
I'm like a dog expert.
Scotch has taken its toll, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that what we ended up with that mixture of breeds is a lot of weird behavior patterns. And one of the things was she was a lot like a cat in that when she wanted affection, she came to you and she expected the affection and you damn well better give her it. But the rest of the time she wanted to work in some way. Her way of showing her affection for you was that let's go out and do this or do that. So I tried to hunt her a couple of times. I took her out with shotguns. She was a pussy with shotguns. So she wasn't a bird dog. I tried all this different stuff about where to find the best fit for Scout. And I never could find it. And I believe 100% was just because her genome, it contained so many things. It contained Shar-Pei. It contained German Shepherd. It contained pit bull, which we know her dad was a pretty pure pit bull. I couldn't ever.
Take two.
Thank you.
Pit bull, take two.
Pit bull, take two. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is that I'm just trying to bolster what you guys have been saying because the dog couldn't actually be focused on anything.
Yeah.
Her favorite thing was eating shit that wasn't food.
She was a good all-around dog, but she was not there was no specialty that she was great at.
Her genome had basically been molested in some way.
You've reminded me of something. You were talking about guns. Our best hunter ever was Lenny, and that dog was the biggest coward I have ever seen. You could drop a penny and she would startle, and anything that clicked or whatever, she would leave the room.
That dog hated me.
But I saw her jump.
That dog loved me.
Yeah, I saw her jump 3 feet in the air and snatch a white wing.
All dogs love me.
Yeah, and watch that white wing.
Except for the two that bit the shit out of me.
And watch that white wing beat the shit out of that dog with its wings, and she didn't care. But if you drop a remote control on her butt, that dog thinks you're out to kill her. So anyway, all right. So I think we're good on that one.
Holy
Okay.
shit!
I think we're talking about genetics.
I
and
can't
we're
believe we
cool.
did a whole hour on dogs.
Yeah, we did like 20 minutes.
It was
on
like 25
Yeah,
minutes.
but hell, I love dogs.
I like exaggerating.
I'm watching the run time, watching the run sheet clock.
So my whole deal about that was I don't have a problem with pit bulls and people who responsibly
No,
deal with
me
them.
neither.
Like you would, like Cliff, you wouldn't live in a camper with your border collie, So
Oh
Right.
God, those
Yeah.
are some of the
It's
most
all
yeah,
about
they're an
memorable
athlete.
weekends.
But it's
of
about
my life is
responsibility
being in
and
a camper with
yeah,
the
it's
dog.
about
So
responsibility.
here's
and selection.
here's the lesson. If the van cave can teach you anything about this, it's that you don't just go to the animal shelter and say, that's a cute dog, I want to adopt that dog. There are a lot of things related to the dog's genome that can really make your ownership of that dog miserable or potentially dangerous. And so you need to think about these things, and you need to research breeds, and you need to research how these animals are bred before you make those decisions. Is that fair?
That's very fair.
Okay.
And
I think that's good.
When they say adopt, don't shop, that's pushing a lot of people toward places that
That's
all they have
it's
are pit
horse
bulls.
shit, yeah.
I'll tell you what's funny. I went to the hipster capital of the universe, Marfa, and we had Macy with us. And we take her out of the car, and people are looking at us because, I groom her, and she's all sharp and schnauzerly. But what they don't know is she's paralyzed on one of her legs.
Yeah.
Right?
Due to
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Long story there. But
I could get one
Everybody's-
dude really mad at me.
everybody has their nose up in the air. Like, well, you obviously shop.
You're a member
so we
of
go
the
walking
gentry.
her-
We do not recognize members of the gentry
Yeah.
who own highly bred dogs.
Yeah, it's forsooth. And so we start walking Macy, and she's like a little canine Igor because she can run and walk fast, but anything else is kind of a limp. It's
She
sort of
goes
weird.
kind of. It's Peter Lorre in a way.
Yeah. So Macy gets out of the car like,
Yes,
"Yay, I'm
master."
walking!" And people are like, "Oh, they obviously adopted and rescued a special dog, and now they all want to pet her."
Oh
so.
well, that worked to your
Yeah.
advantage. Yeah.
Mike, do you have anything? Everybody else is pretty washed out. I've got the big one left.
I don't got. We go this way so I can. I don't have anything at all really.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Montalvo.
I did have a
Golf
dog
clap.
story about a pit bull or whatever it was, but we're off the dog subject right now. So
Whatever makes you happy, man. To the man that made me read The Raven last night, that was beautiful. We're gonna save that for your episode.
Yeah.
Just let it know. Mike brought me into some poetry.
yeah, I don't really have anything. I mean, unless you want to hear the story, it's not.
Oh, throw it down, man. We got.
Okay, let me.
Get in there, dude.
Yeah, these cameras aren't on fire yet.
The gate is killing you.
Yeah,
Where am I? Right
there
here?
you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
So this was back whenever I lived in some apartment building. This was the first
can't
building
not
place
do it.
away from parents' house and everything.
Was that in Midland?
It was here in
Yeah.
Midland, yeah. And I was walking to the gym that they had just to go get on the treadmill and run. And as I was walking, this kid was walking his dog to go get the mail. And Pitbull, or like I said, the big dog ran out and just started attacking this dog. So grabbed it and was throwing it around.
How big was the other dog?
It was small. It was
That's good.
bigger than a Chihuahua, but it's a small dog.
Yeah.
And the other one probably would go up to about my waist, or pretty close to that.
Big dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's throwing it around, and the kid's there screaming and trying to get it to let the dog go. And then the owner of the dog was doing kind of the same thing, just screaming, trying to get the dog to let go. And eventually it did, and the kid picked up his dog and took off running. I think the bigger dog actually threw it.
Yeah.
And he picked it up and took off running. And so I'm thinking, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to run after this dog. And so he's going around the apartment, and I'm thinking I can cut them off if I go this other way because it's a little bit shorter. And whenever I catch up to them, this dog has this kid and his dog cornered.
Holy hell.
Man.
Right in front of their door. So he's trying to get the key into his door to unlock it. And he's right there growling, barking, and about to lunge, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So the only thing I could really think was to just kind of kick the dog. I put my knee kind of in its chest and kind of pinned it up against the brick wall. And then the kid got inside, opened the door, closed it. And then as soon as he closed the door, the dog just went calm and walked away. And it was like nothing.
Yeah, the stimulus was gone. All right.
So,
well,
Man, that's
I will
weird.
close the dog segment with a brief pit bull story. I got a 911 call, 911 hang up. So, and most of those.
Well done.
Yeah, good
Well
job,
done.
Mike. Most of those calls are crap, and this was in the early days of some of the geocoded stuff. And I had to go to this house, and it was a nice house with a fence, and there were like 6 pit bulls in there, and these things were monsters, and they looked, well bred, like somebody wasn't screwing around. And the house, like I said, it was really nice, which typically the nicer the house, the better the dogs are. And so there's all these muscled up pit bulls out in the yard barking at me. And I didn't have any backup, and I didn't really know what was going on in the house. And so these dogs were, rah, 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 they're all just doing the pit bull thing, man. They're stood off, they're angulated. And I just went, "Are you a stupid puppy?" And this dog was going, rah, rah. And they all started wagging. And so I go knock on the guy's door, and there's this, I'm petting this dog, and I go, "Hey man, we got a 911 call. Hey, you two, I got some for you two." And I just want to make sure everything's okay. And he goes, "Yeah, it rained and our phones went out." And he goes, "How the hell did you get in my yard?" And I go, "Your guard dogs suck." That's what happened. And these dogs all look like the creatures from Ghostbusters.
Your guard dogs are the
all right.
R word.